I'm Lindsay for Writing Room, and we are here with Barry Eisler, author of the 6 John Rain novels, and his new novel coming out this February is Fault Line. Welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's good to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your new book coming out?
I can tell you a lot once I get going. I'm really excited about it. It's my first standalone thriller. My first book was Rainfall, that was a standalone, but then it turned into a 6-book series. And I loved writing the Rain series. The protagonist, John Rain, half American, half Japanese assassin whose specialty is making it look like natural causes. But it was really fun to do something new, and that's this new standalone thriller. What was particularly exciting and satisfying for me about writing this new book is that I got to draw on more elements of my own background in creating the story. I spent 3 years in a covert position in the CIA's Directorate of Operations, and this book is a story of two brothers. The older brother is an undercover soldier. If you're curious about what he does and where he comes from in the real world, Google the phrase military liaison element, or Gray Fox, or Center Spike, and you'll find out all about these black ops programs in the military. Ben Trevin, the older brother, that's his world. And it's a world I'm not unfamiliar with because of my own time in the government. The younger brother, the other protagonist, Alex Trevin, hotshot Silicon Valley lawyer. And before I started writing full-time, I spent, 7 or 8 years in a big U.S. New York-based law firm, Weil, Gotshal & Manges. I was in their Silicon Valley office doing a standard Silicon Valley technology practice. 3 years seconded to Japan, and then I spent 3 years in a Silicon Valley technology startup. So I get to draw on all that knowledge and experience in the world of technology law, venture finance, and getting to know the world of the younger brother, Alex Trevin. The two of them are like oil and water in many ways. They do not like each other. There's a whole history between them. Their family's gone. There's a lot of resentment. Alex gets into a jam, and he's in over his head. This is not the kind of thing he knows about. Understands that he has no choice but to contact the last person in the world he ever thought he would contact for a favor. That's his older brother, Ben. Ben gets this call from Alex. He's doing his thing in Istanbul, and resentfully, reluctantly, he travels to the San Francisco Bay Area to try to help Alex out of the situation. Things get much worse for the two of them, as you would expect. Alex works with beautiful Iranian-American lawyer Sarah Hosseini, who he's got a secret thing for. Ben takes one look at her and does not like what he sees because he kills Iranians for a living. He's a suspicious, paranoid guy. She becomes a fulcrum in a kind of love triangle that dramatically worsens the existing tensions between the two brothers. The three of them are going to have to find a way to work together if they're going to survive. But to survive this conspiracy they find themselves in the middle of, they're first going to have to survive each other. So it's a blast to write, and anyone who likes thrillers, I think, would enjoy this book.
It sounds like a great book.
Thank you for saying so. I think it is.
Well, and it also sounds like your two worlds of the law and finance and the CIA have come together in these two characters. Which brother do you relate more to?
Which brother? That's a great question. I really feel like I understand them both. I don't know that I would say I relate more to one or the other. Because for me, a lot of times people will say, with John Rain, I get that all the time, how much of you is in Rain? Or people will meet me and they'll say, wow, I'm surprised because you're such a friendly guy, and Rain's, he's a pretty dark, conflicted, suspicious, cynical character. I just was expecting you to be the same way. For every character you create, I think, if you're doing your job well, what you're really doing, at least what I'm doing, is I'm identifying and distilling out certain elements that I see in my own personality, my own worldview. And then I culture those elements in a new medium. That's this new character. And then they express themselves in a different way. So I'm not overall a cynical person. In fact, in many ways, I think I'm an optimistic person against all contrary experience. But it's just the way I'm built. But I have cynical moments and cynical elements. So if I focus on those and think, okay, what if you built a character who's much more derived from that cynicism, and that cynicism would be unleavened by my native optimism, what would you get? Well, you'd get someone who's a little more like Rain. He's quite different from me, and yet I can understand him because I've had to identify those cynical elements in myself. In the new book, Ben Trevin, the undercover operator, also a cynical guy, has had some experiences that have made him bitter. His worldview is dark. He sees friends and enemies. He sees the world in Hobbesian terms as a dangerous place. Winning is really all he cares about. And he thinks people who think that you have to fight according to certain rules or with certain restraints, he thinks they're naive. And he almost conceives of his role in the world as protecting their ability to be naive. They can sleep easy thinking that they don't do any of the bad things that he knows need to be done in the real world to keep the country safe. That's the burden he bears. Do I think that is that my own worldview? Not the way it is Ben's. It's a worldview I can understand, but I like to think my understanding of it is a bit more better rounded than Ben's is. But I can understand him. Alex almost doesn't care about anything except his own advancement. I mean, he's a really ambitious guy. He works hard. He's in a ruthless environment. He's not accustomed to physical. He's not adept with physical danger the way his older brother is. But anyone who's worked in a top 10 law firm knows that it's a pretty competitive environment. The politics, you got a lot of smart people jockeying for position. The whole economic structure of a law firm is a pyramid. Take a lot of people in at the bottom. They produce income that the lion's share of which ultimately goes to the partners at the top of the pyramid. But people are constantly being cut. Everybody wants to get to that small top of the pyramid. Very few people are going to make it. That's the kind of environment Alex lives in and excels in. So I understand his ruthlessness and his ambition. It certainly doesn't define me the way it does in Alex, but I understand it. In some ways, I even admire it. So and Sarah Hosseini, that's another one. I mean, I'm in touch with my feminine side, so
that's good.
She's a terrific character. She is really political, and I'm pretty political too. If you're curious, go to my website, barryeisler.com. I've got a blog there that I love writing. I talk to a lot of writers, a lot of authors who have blogs, and they say, "Oh, I think it's such a burden. What am I going to write about today?" I have the opposite problem. I feel like I cannot blog today. I've got to write for my day job, being a novelist. So I completely get Sarah's politics. She's super idealistic in a way that I really admire, because we need people who are that idealistic. And I feel those ideals within myself. Again, I've lived a little bit longer than Sarah has. I've had some experience she hasn't. My idealism has been tempered with the passage of time, but I can definitely identify with her passionate ideals. It's something I like in her a lot.